Good morning and welcome back to Scale Auto Guy's Workbench. Today we're going to start building this Toyota Hi-Lux double cab pickup. I recently did an unboxing video on this kit, and so today we're going to start building it. I'm going to go through the parts real quick and give you a rundown in case you missed the video on the unboxing. I'll leave a link to that in the description box below in case you want to go and take a look at that. But we're just going to go through this real quick, real brief, and then we're going to get started on building. This does have like a 90% chrome undercarriage on this thing. All the suspension parts are chrome, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna leave it like that or if I'm going to strip it and paint it. I haven't really decided yet, but we're gonna do something with it. I may just leave it chrome just for the heck of it, but I haven't really decided yet. So let's get started looking at the body here. First off is your cab. That is it's a curbside kit, non-opening hood. I have some of my pet I have 3 cats and 2 dogs in the house, and all of them shed horribly, so you can imagine painting is a pleasure. But anyway, here's the cab. The Aoshima kits are just phenomenal. This kit has like no flash at all on anything. The only thing I did notice, and I'll show you that in a little bit, there is one part that has just a little bit of flash on it, but it's really minor. You have 2 different color of parts trees. Your first one will be white. It's your roll cage and interior parts, fender flares, driving lights, a multi-piece bed. Then you have all of your gray trees. First one is your interior seats and door panels and etc. Next one is your front chassis. There isn't anything under the bed other than the frame, so they just give you the front chassis and part of your driveline parts. And then this one here gives you your frame and a partial engine, so that it looks like it has an engine in it, but it's really a curbside kit. It does also come with 3 chrome trees. The first one is these wheels, which I think look really sharp. I don't know if those are focusing for you. Let's see, here you go. Those look really nice. The next one is your bumper and grill assembly. Here's part of your suspension parts. So you notice how your axles are chrome. Leaf springs are chrome. I'm not sure if I like that or not, but let's see what we end up with. And here's the rest of your suspension parts and exhaust system. The remaining tree, as per usual, I don't unbag these till I need them. It's all your clear parts. It has a fully enclosed front cab window system with the sunroof. Here's your sunroof, your rear glass with the kind of the faux slider window, and all your lenses. It comes with, well, I'm not going to dump them out of the bag. Here's the bag. These are super soft, hollow, Super Swamper radial TSLs. Got a nice, meaty tread pattern on them. So those are going to look pretty good on those chrome wheels. And the decal sheet is kind of small, but it's nice. And they also give you a masking sticker for doing around your sunroof and your windshield. So that's kind of cool. I've never really been able to use those masking stickers very well in the past. So we're going to give it a try. I may get it right, I may not. It would be nice if they were, I don't know if those are adhesive backed and will stick down to the glass. I mean, it does say sticker on it after all. Yeah, okay, great. And it's pre-cut. I don't know if you can see the line there where it's pre-cut. So that'll work out pretty nice. And then once you can get it sealed down, imagine you can go ahead and add your paint, or if you prefer like a Sharpie, I don't know. The ones I've done in the past, they did not seal down like that, and it was kind of pointless to add tape to them because the mask was just as big as it needed to be, and if you added tape to it, then you surpassed the edge of the mask, and yeah, what a pain in the neck. Those, I've had a couple of those. I think one or two of them I freehand did the painting, and others I just didn't paint it at all. I just left it bare window. The last up here is the direction sheet, and it's nice. It comes in Japanese. Of course, this is a Japanese kit, and that's probably why the kit is so clean and crisp. It does come in Japanese and English, and it's pretty detailed directions. So yeah, let me get, I don't know if there's any pre-assemblies at all. I've never built an Aoshima kit before, so I am really not that familiar with this brand. I have been told that they are really great kits, and they go together well. And by what I see here now, I believe that that's the truth. So I guess the only pre-assembly would be to attach the fender flares, build the box, that kind of thing. There's no engine to build, so don't have to worry about that. Well, let's get what we can get together, and I'll see you over at the paint booth. All right, fellas, I know that I should have been recording this. I thought I had the camera running, and I looked up and noticed that it wasn't. But anyway, this is a multi-piece bed. So you have the two sides, the two pieces to the tailgate, this piece, and then this piece here. What I did is I glued this piece in place first, followed by this piece here, clamped everything so it was nice and flat and even. Then I glued this side on, and of course I glued the two-piece tailgate together, clamped that as well, and then I just run a bead of glue along the top edge inside here on the sides of the box, and then I push this piece in place, put the tailgate in, the pin in here, lined this all up, dropped this piece in place, and pushed it down in place. The tailgate does still open, and it locks shut with a click, and that's it for the bed construction. I'm getting ready to put the fender flares on now. I just cut this one off the tree, looked up and realized that the camera was not running. So, oops. I thought I had it running, but gotta trim off that little bit from the parts tree. You know, I wish these kit manufacturers would put the leads from the part trees into an inside spot, like in here, where when you cut it free, it doesn't show, you know, it doesn't show up like where it would here and here. Maybe not inside that, but in some inconspicuous spot so that when you cut it loose from the tree, you don't have to do a whole bunch of stuff to make it presentable before you put it on the body. Now this one here is for this side, and it fits on there about like that. There's no locating pins or marks or anything like that on the flare or on the body, so it's going to be like guesswork, and I'm going to have to be like uber careful, because one little mess up, oops, bumped the camera, sorry, one little mess up and I've got glue everywhere. So just gonna have to be really uber careful. I'm gonna use the least amount of glue as I can get away with. Let me aim this camera down just a smidge. I'm always afraid to aim these down too much, because then they go into portrait mode instead of landscape mode, and it's a mess. But anyway, now you can see me better. I'm just gonna have to put this in place and glue it very lightly, because I don't want to take the chance of getting glue everywhere. This reminds me of the flares on that surfer van, and that was that went together pretty easy, but it had like a little ridge that you glued to, and it was a bit of an alignment thing. I'm just putting just the tiniest bit of glue on there, and then I'm going to spread it around so it's not glue, gooped in one spot. And yeah, it feels pretty clean. Now comes the fun part, dropping it in place and getting it in place right off the bat. And it looks like I got it. And you don't see any globs of glue there. It's always a good idea to take a toothpick and kind of spread it out if you're using the tube glue. And spread it out so it's a more even coat. And I think I'm going to clamp that just to make sure that it stays in place while that glue cures. Just gently put the clamp on. Hopefully it'll grab it and not bend it around or anything like that. Sometimes nope, that's not going to work. It's not going to work. So I'm just going to have to kind of press and hold. I don't think it's going to move, but I would have liked to have been able to put a clamp on that, but because of that sharp edge right there, the clamp's wanting to roll off of it, so yeah, I think that's got it. That looks pretty good. Now it's a good idea to put these on if you're going to use them. Put it on before you start painting, and that way there you can just paint it all in, and it'll all be matching color. Of course, if you're going to do these in a different color, let's say you're going to do them in black, obviously don't put them on until you get the two separate colors painted. But all of this is going to be the same color, so that's not going to be a problem. Now these are parts 4 and 5 on the direction sheet. It only shows part number 4, but once you put part number 4 on, it's pretty self-explanatory how the other one goes on. And just trim that very carefully. You know, that's... There we go. There we go. And this is going to be a repeat. Let me take a look at how that's going to sit. I like test fitting parts before I attach them. That way there, I know how it should look before. It looks like there's, yeah, there's just a little bit of a thing right there. I said earlier that this kit was flash free, but I'm finding just the most minor, where'd that go? There we go. Just the most minor of little pieces of flash here and there. It's really nothing to be concerned about. It's not like a AMT or an MPC kit. This is very nice, actually. Okay. Again, just a small bead of glue. Just a little tiny bit come out, you know, out of the thing. I don't even really squeeze this. I usually let gravity do the work for me. Okay, there we go. All of a sudden I got this vision in my head of oh, what's that guy's name? That famous painter. Can't remember his name for the life of me. It'll come to me when it's inappropriate. But friendly little trees, little tiny bead of glue. Anyway. Now this is a little awkward. Hold on a second. And the beauty of doing this before you paint, if you do mess up and get a little bit of glue where it doesn't belong, you can fix it before you put the paint on there, and whatever repair work you end up having to do will be covered up by the paint. See, when you thin that paint down like that on the edge, it tacks up a lot faster. A lot faster than if you have a big glob of glue there. I just tried to move that forward just a touch, and it was very difficult to move. So if you use a tube glue and you have a bad habit of putting on too much, if you take a toothpick like I just did and just kind of smooth it out and put just a thin amount there, it tacks up really fast. So if you have that problem, just put a small drop of glue and spread it around. Once you get that thinned down on there, it'll tack right to the bare plastic really fast, and you'll be good to go. Okay, the bed is done. And got to do the fender flares on the cab yet. And then we're going to head over to the paint booth. I got a lot of priming to do. I have not decided on a top coat color for this truck yet. I looked online, did a little research online, and as usual, they come in a plethora of colors. So I'm going to have to look at my paints and see what color jumps out at me. Okay, let's get on to those fender flares on the cab and some other stuff. Finally, we're onto the assembly process. This is very slow going. There's a lot of little parts to do and things like that. But anyway, the first step is putting the steering knuckles and hubs together. And these are kind of unique, where the steering knuckles, I guess you could call them, they physically attach to the brake rotors. There's a little notch. There's a little notch right there. And inside the hub there's a little pin. Now, before you glue these together, there's these little poly hubs, and you got to put one of those inside here. Now, what happens with that is on the back side of the wheel there's a little stud, and that locks onto that poly hub. Keep your wheels on, and allows them to turn, I'm assuming, because you're not supposed to glue this into that. So here's where it gets kind of tricky, and I've showed you guys this trick once before. You take a toothpick. These get multi-use, painting and what have you. If you're using tube glue, which I can't get a hold of right now, there we go. If you're using a tube glue, what I would recommend doing is put your poly hub inside there, but before you do that, take a little drop of glue on the end of the toothpick and kind of smear it along that outside edge here. That way you're not putting a big glob of glue there, which is going to squish and go down inside there and glue this poly hub in place. Which I don't know if the glue will actually stick to that or not, but you don't want to take any chances. If you want your wheels to spin, that is. So just smear a little bit of glue around these edges and do the same with the back. That's going to be probably about the same setup. Drop your poly hub in there and then put your steering knuckle in. So let's go ahead and get that done. By the way, this is step 1 on the instruction sheet. All of the steps that you've seen so far is just prep to get to this point. Make sure there's no little nub there that's going to hang up. Okay, and alright, now set those aside. Now those of you who use other type of glues, I'm sure you won't have the issues that I'll have with the tube glue, but this is the only glue I ever use. This is what I'm confident in using. So all it takes is just that little tiny drop, and then you just kind of smear that around the edge just like that. Drop your poly hub in. And then put that on. And clamp it down. So that's all there is to that. And then just repeat the process. Again, just a little. Come on, glue. It's being stubborn now. Just a little drop. That's all you need. Just a little drop. Make sure you get it all the way around. Oh, this is not wanting to go in there. There we go. Make sure it's locked in. That one doesn't seem quite right, does it? But it's locked in there. Okay. This is going to be hard to clamp because I'm stupid. Alright, let me, there we go. There's always a way around it. And then, alright, let those set. And let that glue set up. And we're going to get on to the frame. Might as well nip off those parts of the tree while we're just getting started with this. Always be careful with these knives. Now this one here is not a new blade, but it's still very sharp and a very good way to cut yourself open. So always use it with a little caution. Okay, we'll set those aside so we don't lose them. Set that aside. Okay. Don't need anything from that tree. I've decided to go ahead and just leave everything chrome. I'm going to build this like it's a show truck, not something you'll see on the road every day. That way there, I know it's kind of cheap and cheesy, but I won't have to strip this chrome. And I'm a big fan of chrome anyway. I really like it. But I decided I'd just go ahead and stick with the chrome. Oh, wait a second. Are these... There are no part numbers on the direction sheet. Oh wait, there is. Why did they give me these? Oh boy. These are for like a standard height, I'm guessing. And if I want to lift it, I have to use the chrome parts. Glad I caught that. Oops. Carpet Monster just got that one. Hold on, I'll be right back. Alright. So, I guess there is a part number, 17 and 18. There wasn't a part number Oh, yeah, it was part number 10 and 11. This is calling for 17 and 18, but they look identical. That is a little strange. So, let's change gears. We're going to go with the chrome parts, 17 and 18. That way there we get the lift. I think those for like a standard height. You can see the difference. And, well, let me see. Let me get that out there a little bit. You see the difference in the height. So this gives you a little bit of a boost. So, okay. Forget what I said about that. Let's get these snipped off of here, and we'll go from there. Because I want to go with the lifted truck. Okay. Let's set that over here for now and start all over. Okay. Now, because I'm changing this up, I'm going to have to scrape the chrome out of here. Can't believe I didn't catch that. Waste of time painting those. Alright, instead of putting more glue on that, I'm just going to do the same thing with the toothpick, just put it on the inside here. And, wow. Let go of me. Again, just a drop. That's all you need. Smeared around in there real good. Wow. Is that seated all the way? Yep, sure is. Go ahead and put the clamp on that. Now you always want to scrape the chrome plating, words. Having trouble. Anyway, you always want to scrape that off on surfaces that you're gluing together. Otherwise, the chrome plating will get in the way of the glue reacting to the plastic. And how this tube glue works is it chemically reacts to the plastic and it melts the plastic. Now, those of you who have in the past made glue bombs out of kits, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You put a little too much glue on there, next thing you know, it's melting the plastic and distorting it, and there you go. Well, that's how this stuff works. It's a little stringy. It melts the plastic. So if there's anything acting as a barrier to the plastic between the two pieces that are going to be joined, it's not going to you know, it'll initially stick, but it won't stay stuck. Okay, I'm gonna have to rotate that one to get this one on. You know, you want to give it a little jiggle left and right. Make sure that that little lug engages the spot on the rotor for that. And then put the clamp. I'm glad I caught that when I did, because that could have been a nightmare. Oh, I would eventually have gotten it off of there, but it would have been a nightmare. Okay, we're going to need this piece. I like the way Aoshima does their parts trees. Right where the part goes on the tree, it's a very small spot, so it doesn't, you know, when you nip it off of there, it doesn't leave, excuse me, it doesn't leave a huge eyesore. Just leaves a little tiny spot. My building buddy wants some attention. I don't know if you guys heard him just a little bit ago. He just came in here and kind of cried at me. Okay, before I do all of this, I want to put a little paint on this engine. Let's do that first, and then I'll worry about this. This part will go up. I'm guessing, nope, that's not the right way. Somewhere like this. Oh no, it can't. There's a block with a pin on it. These have holes. Nothing's really lining up though. Where's it? Now, let's look at the directions. Oh, I'm missing this part, because this goes to that part. Okay, that's why it doesn't line up. All right, I'll be right back. We're gonna get some paint on this, and then I'll be back to put the suspension together. Alright fellas, I wanted to show you these shock absorbers are a little bit difficult, not too difficult, but just a little, in getting them in the right spots. Now, as you can see on the bottom here, there's a little, I don't know if you can see that, there's a little bit of a block right here. And that goes into the little slot in the frame. And then it goes down through into a spot just on the forward side of this lower cross member. So what I've done to get the other side in, I put a little dot of glue right there and just a little dot right there. Now, it's a little tricky to get it into the spot onto the lower cross member. There it is. And when you get it in the right spot, you'll feel it kind of click in. So there's the front suspension setup. It's got your, I guess that'd be a steering dampener, sort of. And then your two shock absorbers. This is posable steering, as you can see. Okay, front suspension is complete. Alright, let's get on to the next step. Alright fellas, I got the transfer case and the front drive shaft in. That's a little bit fiddly to get in both places. It wanted to slop all around and do crazy things. But anyway, I got it all together. And I noticed that this little piece here, well, it kind of interferes with the rear cross member, or rear drive shaft. And I got looking at the instruction sheet, and it doesn't show this little piece here. So when you're prepping your frame for paint and everything, I would assume that it's a safe bet to remove that. As you can see, well, maybe not. That comes right across where that rear drive shaft goes in. So, and like I said, it's not showing on the instruction sheet, you know, it being there. So I'm just gonna remove this, and that'll be the end of that. I don't know why they put that there. It doesn't give any strength to the frame. Maybe it's just to help fill the mold. That would be my only guess. I'm going to come back with some flat black and touch those spots up, just like the ones on the front and rear of the frame. But yeah, there it is. There's the front drive shaft and transfer case. Now the transfer case, there's a slot in the back of the transmission that there's a tab on the back of the transfer case. You can't mess that up. But the drive shaft, there's a pin here and like a square lug on this end, and the square lug goes into the front differential. The pin goes into the transfer case, and this goes in the trash or recycling, whatever you do. All right. Looks like the next steps are the exhaust, the front part of the exhaust, a cross member, and a torsion bar. So we're still not done quite yet here. Now, This here I test fitted it. Is that a word? Anyway, there's a pin here and a pin here, and there's corresponding holes on the frame. Now these ends don't meet flush to the frame. It does on one side, it doesn't on the other. So it has to go, and you can see the holes here and here. This side, if you can hold on to it long enough, my hands are kind of cold and dry, so it's kind of hard for me to hold on to stuff right now. That side's in, that side's in, and you see there's a little bit of an overhang there, and that's just how it goes. That's a skid plate for the transfer case. Good idea. All right, let's keep going. Let's get this exhaust system and such in place, and then it's on to the, and it's 2-section exhaust. So we're putting the forward part on, then we're doing the aft end part with the fuel tank, and then we're doing the rear axle and drive shaft. Alright fellas, I messed up. You saw it, and you were probably screaming at the screen. I couldn't hear you. Ended up having to take that cross member back off because this has got to go on first. Now there's a spot on the back side of this piece here where this kind of mounts, and then there's a hole here for the pin in the back. So you just kind of slide this up in here, get that pin in, and that forward part just locks, and you can feel it when it goes into the hole. So let's get a little spot of glue on there, and a little spot back here. Now I've already stripped the chrome off the pins, so it shouldn't be any issue as far as gluing and staying in place. Of course, initially you have to kind of hold it, but yeah, I can't believe I did that. Okay. Alright, now the cross member. Luckily I caught it before the glue set. I was able to just pull it right back off. Okay, once again we'll clamp it in place. I'm going to have to come back and touch up a lot of this paint. It's not holding as well as I thought it would. Then again, it's cheap craft paint. There are advantages and disadvantages to using it. So anyway, this goes in here. This goes in here. And there's an exhaust tip I gotta find. I haven't located that yet. It's not on that tree. That's the problem with having multiple chrome trees. Yeah, there it is. That's interesting. It's this tiny, tiny part. Just sticking up off the chrome tree. Okay, before I glue any of this in place, let me get this prepped up and get this stuck on. Hopefully it'll stay stuck. Just taking a piece of sandpaper there and cleaning that chrome off. Not much I can do for the inside of this. Can try to get the... There we go. Woo, slippery. It's the only thing I don't like about doing models in the wintertime. My hands are very dry, and it's difficult to handle these parts sometimes. Oh, I forgot to trim this stupid thing. Now I'll have to wait till it sets up. Alright, I'll be back when those clamps are ready to be pulled off, and we'll start on the rear suspension. Alright fellas, I skipped ahead a little bit and I got the rear suspension put on. Couple of notes for this. The suspension is kind of wiggly and wobbly while you're trying to put it together. Because the footing on these springs is so wide and the frame is so narrow, it doesn't give you a whole lot of room to attach the springs. The shock perches on the frame down here are fine, but when you try to attach them, this side attached fine, this side not so much. If I try to rotate this axle so I can get this shock attached, the drive shaft falls out. So that's why the drive shaft is kind of floppy right now. But I went ahead, got the exhaust, the fuel tank, and the rear axle, and the brake drums, and etc., all put together. Got the shocks in there. So I'm done with the framework. I did notice back when I first started putting this together and I put these hubs on the back of the brake rotors, it's dawned on me that this truck can be done in a stock height and in a lifted height. I'm going with the lifted, obviously, but there is one particular part that I found on the chrome tree that I thought, man, that would look fantastic on this. But the problem is, and I found out after taking this piece off, I found out that this piece with the rock shield, that would have looked nice on there. But the problem is, this piece is designed to work with these hubs, not the lifted hubs. So this is what we're stuck with. So if you want to use this piece here, you have to do it in the lowered or stock height suspension. Now it does give you two sets of leaf springs. You got the lifted set and you have a stock height set, as well as two different drive shafts and obviously the two different height hubs. So you can do it either in a stock height or a lifted height. the thing is, I don't know if these gigantic tires will fit under a stock height lifted truck. You know, stock height truck. This is meant for the lifted truck. So if you go with the stock height, you would have to probably switch the tires. I don't know if they would clear the fenders or not. But there it is. So it gives you extra parts. It's not explicit or expressed marked on the box that it's a 2-in-1. It says, you know, lifted, so you think you're going to build it lifted, and you start down that path and you find out, oh, I could do it 2 ways. So anyway, the chassis done, and it looks pretty sharp. I'm not real keen on that drive shaft flopping around. I don't normally glue them in, but I might have to on this one. One other thing I noticed about this, and this is kind of, it's irrelevant to the model build itself, but if this was an actual truck, that drive shaft would not work. This one here. Typically in a 2-piece drive shaft like this, it would have a carrier bearing in the center here to keep it from just flopping all over the place. This here would just flop all over the place if it was the actual truck, but I digress. It's the model. It's not a real truck, but that being said, oh well. Anyway, we're done with this. The next step, we're moving on to the interior. Now the kit does a call out for neutral gray for the seating area. I went with the tan. I think that they went with the neutral gray because, according to the box art, it's a white truck. Mine is not, so I think the almond for the interior looks pretty good. So, and it's already painted that way, so I'm just staying the course. So I'm going to let this set for a little bit, let everything cure, and we'll be back with the interior in just a little bit.
Many unbearable hours later.
Alright fellas, last night I got the interior done and got that all mounted. I didn't notice it when we first opened the box up that this is a right-hand drive. I don't know why I didn't notice that, but I just didn't, and that makes it unique here in the States anyway. I went with the two-tone tan, almond seats, door panels, etc., etc., and the That's called classic caramel on the floor down there for the carpeting. This was kind of unique in a way. There are attachment points for the interior to mount to the chassis, and it requires these little tiny chrome mounts that you have to cut off the tree excuse me, and you have to mount on these little points here. There's another one here, but it's one long piece, and under here, attachment point here, and the same on the other side. And then there's a big chrome piece. I know you can't see it. I should have shown this in the video, but this piece here is one long chrome piece. It goes all the way back to about here, and that mounts to the frame, and then this mounts to that piece. Now I'm on to the wheels. This video is getting a little long, so I'm going to put the wheels and tires together. I still have a little bit of work to do on the cab. I have to put in the glass and the chrome and all that other stuff, so we'll get that finished up and we'll be on to the final. Welcome to the final on this Aoshima Toyota Hi-Lux pickup. This truck went together very nicely. Even though the directions were a little bit different to follow, it still went together nearly flawlessly. I say different, I'm used to the AMT versions and Revell's versions. This was a little different because it had Japanese and English instructions on the instruction sheet, and it made it a little confusing, but it wasn't that bad. Now, I wish that they would have not made this just a curbside kit. I think it would have been cool to have an opening hood and an engine. The fit and finish of this kit was far beyond anything that some other kit manufacturers produce, and there was nearly zero flash and mold lines to speak of. Even the tires fit onto the rims nicely compared to the 78 GMC Big Country's tires and wheels, which was a nightmare. This kit came with a lot of parts for a different build of this kit, and I found that this has become somewhat normal in the industry, that they have a mold for different kits, and they just, instead of deleting those parts from the new style kit, they just include them. Now, I say that, for example, this kit came with the stock height suspension. It came with driving lights that mount on the roll bar, a web style net to replace the tailgate, 2 different mufflers and tailpipes, just to mention a few things. The roll bar wasn't mentioned in the direction sheet, neither was the running boards. But the roll bar had mount holes in the bed, and the running boards had mounting holes in the chassis. But they weren't, neither one of those were mentioned in the direction sheet. I was going to go with the lights on the roll bar, but decided to opt out on those because of aesthetic reasons, and the gap between the bars was too wide and the lights wouldn't sit on the bar quite right, and they didn't look like they were actually mounted to the bar. They just kind of were sloppy there, and there wasn't mounting holes or anything like that to put the lights in. They did just a gap there between the 2 bars, and I didn't really like the way it looked, so I just went with the roll bar by itself. As I mentioned earlier, this is a right-hand drive truck, which makes it kind of unique, in my opinion, from a stateside point of view. The only things that I would do differently if I were to build this again would be to open the holes for the windshield wipers prior to painting. It was a bit on the nerve-wracking side to drill those out and worry about whether or not I was going to damage the paint. It didn't give me instruction to do that until later on in the instruction sheet, and I had already had the body painted at that point. So where the windshield wipers mount to the cowl, you had to drill them out from the inside to put them on there. I'd also strip the chrome off of the suspension parts better. I thought that I had gotten it well enough for the glue to do its job, but as I was putting the tires on the axles, the rear axle kind of broke loose and I had to re-glue it. Not a deal breaker by any measure, but something that I would do better. I also wish that Aoshima would have also included the Toyota lettering for the tailgate in white and black. The red lettering doesn't go really well with the color that I chose for the build. Overall, this kit was a breeze to put together, and I definitely would recommend it. It was quite refreshing to build a kit that was so good that it practically built itself. Now, if you want to watch the unboxing video for this kit, I'll leave a link to that video in the description box below. Well, there's another build done. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, why not click that thumbs up button? If you have any questions or comments, please write those in the comment section below, and I'll be happy to respond to you as soon as possible. Be sure to follow me on Facebook, or you can drop me a line at scaleautoguy@gmail.com. If you want more videos like this one, make sure to hit that subscribe button below and hit the bell icon so that you'll know when I post new videos. Thanks for watching Scale Auto Guy's Workbench, and I'll see you on the next build.